Okay, we're going to check out some of Joy Reid's takes post-election. This clip here is from after the election, but before the inauguration. Let's take a look.
Talking about like stealing an election. And it's making me rethink whether I do believe like election machines can be hacked. Because I've always been like, you can't hack the election machines, but they're like convincing me, I don't know, maybe you can. I don't know.
I mean, to me,
isn't that like the number one sin of a mainstream Democrat to even mention that that's possible? Like the Democrats spent years and years talking about this all the time. Actually, like when I turn the TV on and I hear the mainstream networks talking about this, I always just go, okay, talk about like policy, talk about tax policy. Come on. It's crazy to just now hear, oh, maybe the machines don't work. What? Just because Trump won?
In this world, anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
I mean, there are all these conspiracy theories out there about Trump and whether or not they cheated. I know you say that they didn't, but I know you kind of have
wait
to
a minute.
say
I didn't say they didn't. What I said is there is a rational explanation for why Kamala Harris could have lost those swing states and Trump won them. There's a way you can get to those numbers with people staying home or only voting for Trump and not the rest of the ballot. I'm saying there's a history of that. However, let
me hear.
I mean, people just like love conspiracy theories or something. Are we about to see the left wing start to embrace conspiracy theories like a ton in the future? What's happening here?
Because
what I will say is there was absolute voter suppression that took place, and I consider that cheating. If you think about the voter law in your state of Georgia, that law is anti-voter. When you have bomb threats only in Fulton County, we don't know how many people stayed home out of fear because of the bomb threats in Fulton County. When you have Elon Musk waving around $1 million checks in order for people to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
Right. There's so many things that were done that were nefarious. To put aside just the actual voter suppression in these anti-voter laws that kept people from registering, that messed up people's voter registration when they showed up and all of a sudden they're not on the rolls.
But that happens every year, right? That happens
every
all
election.
the time.
So yeah, I think things happen.
Is she talking about voter ID? Okay, I want to understand what Joy Reid was exactly referencing there. Here's Joy Reid explaining the Georgia election law.
To start, most egregiously, it makes it a crime in Georgia to give food and water to people waiting in line to vote. It also,
I think Curb Your Enthusiasm did an episode about that.
Allows unlimited challenges to a voter's registration, requires ID to cast mail-in ballots, and bans third-party.
Requires ID for mail-in ballots. That probably is like the most reasonable thing in the entire world.
Groups from sending absentee ballot applications. It also effectively allows the Republican.
What's wrong with that? Bans third-party groups from sending absentee ballot applications. What could be wrong about that? You just like a third party just sending a bunch of applications for people that aren't voting in person? I don't think that's a problem.
Dominated legislature to take over local elections, stripping the Secretary of State as chair of the state election board.
Greatly expands legislature's power over elections, strips Secretary of State as role. I mean, what do those even mean? Those are pretty ambiguous. It's hard to say exactly what that means practically.
Allowing the Republican General Assembly to appoint 3 out of the 5 voting members to the board. Basically, Republicans now totally controls who gets elected in Georgia. The new law also cuts the number of ballot drop boxes, like, surprise, surprise.
Republicans totally control. So she pretty much thinks Republicans just cheat in Georgia. That's certainly how it sounds.
Conspiracy theories about Elon Musk, somehow using his tech connections, because I don't want to say genius because we know he's not.
Yeah, he ain't a genius.
But those relationships or whatever.
He's not a genius. Not a genius, though. These are tech connections. That's what this gets you. Not a genius at all. Not smart. Tesla's market value over $1 trillion. Not a genius. Lands a rocket. Starlink. Neuralink. But not a genius. Chopsticks, a 22-story building from the sky. Not a genius.
Tech connections, because I don't want to say genius because we know he's not.
Yeah, he ain't a genius.
But those relationships or whatever, because they just seem too confident. And I know and I'm not saying it was the voting machines or whatever. It just doesn't add up to me with all the support that she had. And I know that for you, and because of what happened with Fox, and because
what does that mean though? The people around you liked Kamala, so you thought she was going to win. What does that mean? The support she had.
what you do professionally with the network, you can't say it was the machines or something like that. But if you think it was the machines, but you can't say, just don't say anything. See, this is what I'm saying.
I'm not saying anything. All I'm saying is
no, I know.
there are many ways to cheat in an election. And I don't ever put it past Republicans to cheat in elections because they've been busted too many times.
Again, isn't that like the biggest sin of a left-wing reporter to be talking like this? Okay, now let's take a look at Joy Reid's coverage of the inauguration itself.
Tech leaders got prime seating ahead of Trump's cabinet and lawmakers. Folks like Mark Zuckerberg, Apple's Tim Cook, Google's CEO Sundar Pichai, Jeff Bezos, and Shadow President Elon Musk.
He's not a genius. And Pichai and Bezos? What are these names? Elon Musk, by the way, not a genius.
The so-called populist president kicked off his second term with billionaires who mixed and mingled with cabinet secretaries and Trump family members, rubbing elbows in the warm rotunda. It was quite the scene. While the spouses of some of the lawmakers elected by the American people were shunted to an overflow space in the Capitol. And Trump's actual base cooled their heels inside the Capital One arena over a mile from the Capitol.
Over a mile. Man, this is like complete comedy. This is great.
Or late today, they were, I guess you could call it, treated to what you might call an inaugural parade. As for Donald Trump, who refused to participate in the peaceful transfer of power when he left office the last time and fomented a violent attack on the U.S. Capitol for which he was never held accountable, his inaugural message was about unity.
Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true. National unity is now returning to America, and confidence and pride is soaring like never before.
May King's ghost haunt you.
May King's ghost haunt you. I mean, being polite, that's one of the weirder things I've heard in a long time. And I mean, I'm kidding, of course, but what are the rules of just like summoning somebody else to haunt somebody else? Is there a rule behind that? Is Martin Luther King her grandfather or something that we all don't know about? Anyway, just a bizarre statement. With that said, I'll finish the video though. Like and subscribe, leave a comment. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.